Welcome to the deep dive, the place where we take the absolute fire hose of information that's flooding the modern workplace,
Yeah.
and we try to distill it down,
Yeah.
down to the essential, actionable insights that you actually need to stay ahead. And today, we are wading right into what is, it's arguably the single most immediate and, frankly, overwhelming topic out there.
It's everywhere.
It's dominating every professional discussion right now,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, and specifically its integration into the workplace.
It really is affecting everything,
Okay.
from how you write a simple email to how entire organizations are being restructured.
We've analyzed a pretty substantial stack of sources for this deep dive. We're talking global research reports from places like McKinsey, PwC, the World Economic Forum.
And insights from leading technologists and thought leaders in the space.
And all of this material is centered around a framework we're calling the AI anxiety.
A very appropriate name.
Our mission for you, the listener, isn't to debate the morality of AI or the sci-fi stuff. It's to provide a crucial shortcut.
A shortcut to understanding the core challenges.
And more importantly, the immense opportunities that are being presented by this incredibly rapid technological integration. We want to move you from a place of, paralyzing fear.
You're one of grounded, actionable facts.
Okay, so let's unpack this. If you are a working professional today, and I don't care what industry you're in, law, marketing, finance, HR, whatever, you are likely feeling a low, persistent hum of fear.
Uncertainty.
It's absolutely widespread. And you know what? It's valid. These aren't abstract future tense fears.
No, they feel very present.
They are direct, immediate threats to the status quo that, underpins your professional stability. We hear the same questions whispered in meetings, in boardrooms, every single day.
And chances are you're asking them too.
Right.
Huh.
Questions like, will AI take my job entirely? Or is all my specialized knowledge suddenly obsolete?
And the big one. Will I be left behind?
Right.
Will I just be unable to keep up with the sheer disorienting pace of this change?
Yeah.
And that sense of vulnerability is precisely why a deep dive is required right now. The headlines, they just oscillate wildly. They promise either this, professional utopia where all the grunt work just vanishes.
Or an economic apocalypse where humans are redundant.
And neither extreme is accurate. Before we can address the very real, the visceral anxiety that you might be feeling, we have to clearly define the technology itself.
Right. Demystify it.
Exactly. Fear thrives in ambiguity. And right now, the term AI is one of the most ambiguous, most loaded terms in modern business.
We need that balanced analysis. We need clear definitions.
Because the only way to measure the true scale of the threat, or, conversely, the immense promise it holds, is to actually understand the tool itself.
Okay, so let's tackle that ambiguity head on. The term artificial intelligence, it immediately sounds like pure science fiction.
It does. It brings up images of HAL 9000 or the Terminator.
Right. Conscious, sentient robots from the movies. And that dramatic framing, I think, is what fundamentally contributes to the anxiety. So we need to demystify it right now.
So do it.
In the simplest, most layman-friendly terms we can manage, what exactly are we talking about when we say AI in the context of our jobs today?
It's a great question. In the professional context, especially with the tools that have been so disruptive in the last, say, 18 months.
The ones that write and code and summarize things.
Exactly. We're primarily talking about large language models, or LLMs,
Yeah.
and foundation models. And at their core, they are fundamentally just highly sophisticated predictive algorithms.
Okay, predictive algorithms. Still sounds a bit technical.
Fair enough. It's crucial to emphasize the core facts from the research. AI, in its current form, is a tool. It's an assistant, a co-pilot.
Not a replacement.
It's designed today to enhance human capability and accelerate our output, not to replicate or replace human consciousness.
So can you explain the mechanics of that predictive algorithm in a way that, really grounds the concept for us?
Certainly. Think of it like a hyper-efficient, absolutely massive statistical engine.
Okay.
These models are trained on literally trillions of data points. We're talking billions of words, lines of code, images, numbers, just a staggering amount of information from the internet.
So it's consumed more information than any human ever could.
By many orders of magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the key. The machine doesn't understand what those words mean in a human conscious sense.
It doesn't get the nuance.
It doesn't get anything. Instead, it just identifies the complex, layered statistical relationships and probabilities between all those data points.
So it's just seeing patterns.
Exactly. So when you give it a prompt like, Write a summary of the quarterly earnings report in a confident tone. The model isn't thinking, okay, time to be confident.
Ah, right.
It is calculating the sequence of words that, based on all the data it has ever consumed, is statistically most likely to fulfill your command. It's just predicting the next best word or token in the sequence. It's an exercise in probability, not comprehension.
So it's a pattern recognition machine that can articulate its findings incredibly well, so well that it feels intuitive and human.
Precisely. And this leads us to the most crucial and often overlooked fact. And this is the one that really helps de-escalate that existential fear.
What's that?
AI does not think or feel.
Yeah.
It simulates intelligence. I mean, it passes the Turing test with flying colors. It sounds intelligent, but it fundamentally lacks consciousness, emotion, intent, or true wisdom.
So there's no ghost in the machine.
There is no ghost in the machine. We have to differentiate between the old symbolic AI, which just followed strict pre-programmed rules, and the deep learning models we have today.
The new ones are much more capable.
Vastly more capable because they teach themselves the rules from the data. But even so, they lack what philosophers call qualia, the subjective, felt experience of being alive.
So if I ask an LLM to write a really emotional apology to a client, it's not empathizing with the client's frustration. It's just stringing together the most common phrases that are associated with apology and client frustration and professional regret that it found in its dataset.
It's mimicry on a staggering industrial scale. That's a perfect way to put it.
The human element of intent is totally missing.
Totally. It doesn't know why the data looks the way it does. It just knows what the data says and how to arrange it efficiently. This lack of consciousness is our first, major piece of evidence against the whole apocalypse narrative.
A tool without intent can't take over the world.
It can't.
That makes it sound like a calculator that can write prose. Or a spreadsheet that can synthesize policy.
And you know what? That spreadsheet analogy, it holds up surprisingly well. We should really dwell on that for a second.
Okay.
When tools like VisiCalc or Lotus 123 arrived in the 80s, they didn't replace accountants.
No, they supercharged them.
They gave accountants the ability to model hundreds of complex financial scenarios in minutes instead of weeks. The tool automated the calculation.
Yeah. Freeing the human to focus on financial strategy and judgment.
Exactly. AI is essentially that, the ultimate spreadsheet. But it's amplified across every cognitive function imaginable. Writing, summarizing, coding, strategizing.
It provides the cognitive offload that those earlier tools provided for, mathematical labor.
And keeping that grounded tone is essential for navigating the anxiety. If you view it as a co-pilot, a piece of software that can instantly process complex data and execute routine cognitive tasks, it immediately shifts from being an existential threat
to being an incredible force multiplier for your time and your thinking.
It's a machine that handles the complexity of data processing, leaving the complexity of human interaction and strategy to you.
Okay, that clarifies the mechanics. It's a tool. It simulates intelligence based on probabilities and data, but it lacks that messy, conscious, emotional human element.
Right.
But that brings us right back to our core problem. If it's just a tool, even a really, really sophisticated one, why does it provoke such intense, immediate professional anxiety? I mean, when email came out, people griped about the volume, sure, but they didn't fear it would eliminate their entire career. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We have to dive into the psychology of this thing. The reaction to AI has been so much more immediate and pervasive than almost any previous technology shift.
It is.
What is it about AI that makes the anxiety so profound? More than, say, the shift to global outsourcing 20 years ago or factory automation decades before that?
I think the anxiety is rooted in a fundamental multi-layered challenge to what we perceive as human value. And it's tied directly to our economic and psychological security.
How so?
Unlike factory automation, which largely targeted physical repetitive labor, AI targets cognitive labor.
The stuff knowledge workers do.
The very thing many high-earning professionals pride themselves on. The thing they went to college for.
Right.
Our source material really pointed to 4 key fears that differentiate this shift and just amplify the emotional response.
Okay, let's break them down.
The first, and the most immediate, is the fear of job loss. This is raw. It's the existential threat to your income, your security. For most people, their job is the primary engine of their life. It funds their housing, their healthcare, their future. So when an algorithm can potentially execute tasks that previously required a highly compensated professional,
It feels like the ground is just falling out from under you.
it's an immediate, tangible threat to that stability. It's not just about losing a paycheck. It's about losing the entire foundation of a middle-class life.
It's the fear that the entire value proposition you spent decades building, your specialization, your experience, will just be compressed into a few lines of code.
Exactly. And that's closely linked to the second fear, which is almost more psychologically corrosive.
And that is,
The fear of irrelevance. This is the worry that your hard-earned skills, the specialized knowledge, the certifications, the decade of experience will become obsolete overnight.
creating a digital competence gap that feels impossible to cross.
Right. People look at the speed of progress and they worry they just can't catch up. They see young professionals, digital natives, adapting instantly.
And they worry that their experience, which used to be their greatest asset, suddenly becomes a liability.
It becomes a liability if it's rooted in tasks like drafting, summarization, initial research that AI can now do cheaper and faster. It suggests a complete disruption to the traditional value curve of professional experience.
The knowledge worker's competitive advantage was always access to and manipulation of information. And now that advantage is being neutralized by a machine.
Which brings us to the third differentiating factor, and this is one we really need to stress: the sheer speed of change. Previous industrial shifts, think about the widespread adoption of the car or the telephone, they occurred over multiple decades.
Right. There was time.
Society, infrastructure, and especially educational institutions had time to adapt, to retrain, to restructure.
And AI evolution.
Specifically with these LLMs, it's happening on a timeline measured in months, sometimes weeks.
New models are released with exponentially improved capabilities. The version from 6 months ago looks ancient.
Instantly. This acceleration is the key differentiator. It doesn't give the professional world time to breathe, to plan, to retrain organically through slow generational shifts. And this velocity, it just feeds the anxiety that any learning you do today will be irrelevant tomorrow.
That acceleration is truly disorienting. I mean, we're used to updating our phone software, but having the foundational technology underneath your entire industry radically reshaped every 6 to 12 months, that creates systemic stress.
And this rapid existential cognitive threat, it ties directly into the fourth and perhaps the deepest point,
Okay.
the identity connection. For so many professionals, their work is inseparable from their identity, from their self-worth.
If you're a lawyer, your worth is tied to your ability to synthesize complex case law and draft compelling arguments.
Right. If you're a graphic designer, your identity is linked to your ability to create unique, valuable visuals. So when a machine can perform these acts of creation or sophisticated problem solving, which are in essence acts of identity, the threat is profound.
It's not just economic anymore. It's a deep psychological blow.
The machine isn't just threatening your job title. It's threatening who you are as a professional.
Wow. That reframes the entire anxiety. It moves the discussion from, is this tool efficient, to the far more personal and far more painful question.
Am I still necessary? Does my specialized training still matter?
But to counter this powerful, deep-seated emotional fear, we need concrete facts. We have to move away from the speculative anxiety and look at the credible, large-scale research in our sources.
We do.
What does the actual data indicate about the future of jobs and productivity? So we've established the fear is real, it's intense, it's deeply psychological. Now let's pivot to the facts. What does the global research say? The core tension here is always that displacement versus creation argument. Is the net impact positive or negative? The source material we looked at strongly suggests we need a balanced view, one that refutes the mass extinction narrative.
That balance is absolutely essential. The research confirms that AI causes displacement. Let's be clear about that.
Some jobs will go away.
Routine tasks and some narrowly defined roles will certainly disappear or be heavily reduced. But, and this is the crucial part, there is an accompanying significant volume of new job creation.
Resulting from that same integration.
Exactly. The professional world is transforming, not vanishing. And that transformation creates new demands.
Okay, so let's get specific. This is where the fear to fact transition has to happen.
Let's start with the World Economic Forum, the WEF data. It's critical because it takes that high-level global view.
And what are they finding?
Their findings consistently show that while, yes, jobs are inevitably displaced by automation, there is a substantial accompanying growth in entirely new job categories.
Categories driven by the new industries and efficiencies AI enables.
Right. For example, the WEF projects massive growth in roles like data scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, digital transformation experts.
Jobs that barely existed a decade ago.
Exactly. Jobs that wouldn't exist, or at least wouldn't be needed at this scale, without the underlying technology.
So the key isn't the total number of jobs, but the radical shift in the nature of the jobs available. We're trading roles that focus on repetitive execution.
For roles that focus on strategy, oversight, and integration.
We're moving up the professional value chain.
We are. And that nuance is beautifully captured by McKinsey's extensive research. And this finding, I think, is maybe the most crucial for an individual professional to really internalize.
Okay, what is it?
AI primarily automates tasks, not entire jobs.
Tasks, not jobs. Say more about that.
To put that into perspective, McKinsey analyzed thousands of roles and found that even in highly susceptible fields, only a handful of jobs are entirely automated. Most roles are. They're composite roles.
A mix of different things.
All right, think about a financial analyst. They might spend 20% of their day generating standardized reports, maybe 30% doing initial data cleansing, and then 50% in client meetings, strategic forecasting, presenting their findings.
And the AI automates.
The first two. The routine, 50% of the tasks.
Oh, wait, I have to push back on that optimism a little.
Please.
If AI automates 50% of the tasks for 4 analysts, why wouldn't the employer just lay off 2 of them and have the remaining 2 handle the high-value work for all 4? Isn't task automation still leading to fewer jobs?
And that is the crucial, complex question that challenges the optimist narrative.
Right.
The answer, which is backed by the economic research, is that those firms are rarely running at 100% capacity. When efficiency skyrockets, companies typically don't just cut staff to pocket the savings.
They do what?
They redirect that newfound capacity into new, previously unattainable goals.
And this is where the PwC data comes in.
Yeah, this is exactly where it becomes essential. Their projections consistently focus on the massive economic value and productivity gains across all sectors.
So a firm gains 50% efficiency from its analysts.
It doesn't just cut staff. It launches 2 new product lines. It enters a new market. It dedicates those now free analysts to entirely novel strategic initiatives that require deep human judgment.
Initiatives they never had the bandwidth for before.
Never. So the economic upside, the potential for massive productivity gains, it funds the redirection of that labor capacity into innovation and growth.
The job transformation is catalyzed by economic pressure to grow.
Exactly. The economic incentive for AI adoption is just too great to ignore. And those gains inherently fund the new types of jobs focused on growth and strategic value.
PwC estimates the global economic boost could be in the tens of trillions of dollars.
Over the next decade, yeah. That kind of efficiency doesn't lead to contraction. It leads to accelerated expansion, which requires human direction.
Okay, so that's the macro view. What about on the ground for the individual?
Well, this is where insights from Gartner become incredibly relevant. They frame the future view of AI as a coworker.
A coworker.
They emphasize that AI will be an embedded part of the team, not just a competitor sitting across the table waiting to take your job.
A coworker that never sleeps, never complains, and can process petabytes of data in seconds.
Precisely. Think of it as a specialized staff member that handles all the heavy lifting, the data crunching, the first drafts, the background research.
Allowing the human colleague to focus on the elements requiring nuanced judgment, complex relationship building, and true intentional creativity.
This is the model of augmentation we need to internalize.
So if we synthesize all of this foundational research, what does it all mean for the listener who's worried about their next performance review?
It means the path we are on points decisively toward fundamental transformation and adaptation.
Not mass extinction of work.
Exactly. This moves the discussion out of the realm of pure technological fear and into the practical realm of skill development.
Specifically, learning how to leverage this new coworker. That concept of transformation is key. We keep hearing this word augmentation instead of automation. But for someone who's currently spending 8 hours a day doing their job, what does augmentation actually look like on a Monday morning? We need to deepen that definition beyond just, being a co-pilot.
Augmentation, at its core, is the finding that human plus AI consistently and significantly outperforms humans working alone.
And often outperforms AI operating alone, too.
It does.
Yeah.
The magic is in that synergy, the handoff between machine speed and human context. AI is the accelerator pedal for human potential because it takes care of the cognitive grunt work,
The tedious, predictable middle steps.
which allows the human to soar on judgment and creativity.
Let's make this tangible. We need to illustrate how specific professional roles are already being transformed, drawing from the workflow shifts highlighted in the research.
Great idea. Let's start with a professional involved heavily in data entry and processing.
Okay. A classic rote job.
Traditionally, this role was just that. Inputting numbers from forms, cleaning messy spreadsheets, merging massive, inconsistent databases. It was essential for business, but highly repetitive and...
Prone to human error.
Exactly. AI transforms this role completely. It handles the initial data ingestion, the cleaning, the identification of anomalies, with a speed and scale that is just unimaginable for a human.
So the human role shifts. It's no longer rote data entry.
It becomes higher value data analysis and storytelling.
So the human stops being a key puncher and becomes an interpreter.
An interpreter. They move from being a transactional worker to a strategic advisor.
Tell me more.
The human is no longer responsible for gathering and cleaning the basic insights. They are responsible for explaining what those insights mean for the business.
So they're leveraging their uniquely human skills.
Right. Contextual understanding of the market, organizational history, emotional intelligence for client presentations, persuasive communication, all to turn raw AI-generated data into strategic action.
They move decisively up the value chain by focusing on the why and the what now, rather than the what is.
That requires a completely different skill set. Less about Excel proficiency, more about communication and critical thinking.
Exactly. Okay, another one. How about customer service?
A great example. For decades, this department has been defined by transactional interactions. Often scripted, often frustrating for the customer, and frankly, soul-draining for the agent.
We've all been there.
We all have. AI is now excellent at handling the logistics, tracking orders, processing simple returns, answering the 80% of questions that are covered in an FAQ. It automates those transactional scripts entirely.
So the human role then shifts to
Empathy-driven problem solving. AI handles the functional. The human handles the emotional.
I like that.
The automation of the transactional frees up the human representatives to manage the 20% of interactions that truly matter.
The complex, unique, high-stakes, or emotionally fraught issues.
The moments where a customer needs to feel heard, understood, and validated.
So the human intervention is reserved for the moments that fundamentally build or destroy customer loyalty.
And that is high-value work that directly impacts the bottom line. It's something an algorithm cannot yet replicate. The human agent's time is now optimized for de-escalation, creative conflict resolution, and complex exceptions.
All tasks requiring deep social and emotional intelligence.
Right. And one more. Let's look at HR automation. Routine HR tasks, benefits enrollment, policy inquiries, administrative onboarding paperwork, they are inherently rule-based and repetitive.
Perfect for AI.
Perfect. AI is automating this entire administrative burden via internal chatbots and workflow tools.
Now, this sounds like a direct threat to HR assistants and administrators.
It is a threat to the administrative castes of those roles, but it doesn't eliminate the HR department.
Instead,
It frees up HR leaders for strategic people leadership and complex organizational development. The HR team stops being bogged down in paperwork and starts focusing on culture, talent retention strategy, leadership development.
the big, messy human problems.
The problems that require nuanced judgment. It allows them to apply empathy and critical judgment to high-stakes issues. Mediation, complex compensation planning, shaping company culture, managing difficult, human-centric change.
It removes the necessity of being a paper pusher.
And insists that HR become a strategic partner focused on human motivation.
You know, in every single one of these examples, the pattern is the same. AI removes the repetitive, data-heavy, predictable work, but it leaves human creativity, judgment, strategic decision-making, and empathy intact as the critical, irreplaceable human strengths. It really is the ultimate tool for cognitive offload.
And this reinforces the idea of AI as a genuine amplifier. It takes core human capabilities, like the ability to synthesize or decide or relate, and it scales them dramatically.
It doesn't replace the musician.
It replaces the tedious tuning of the instrument, so the musician can focus purely on the performance and the composition. That idea of amplification, it leads us directly to the concept of competitive advantage in this new professional environment. If AI is a tool, an incredibly powerful, widely available tool, then the real risk isn't that AI will take your job.
The real risk is ignoring it entirely.
Exactly. Our sources repeatedly show that the people who learn to work with AI, who integrate it seamlessly into their daily workflows, are the ones who benefit the most. They gain a profound competitive advantage.
We're seeing clear, measurable evidence of this already.
We are. Integration leads to faster thinking, better decision-making because of the accelerated data analysis, and demonstrably higher productivity across the board. The goal, therefore, is not to compete against the tool.
But to leverage the tool to outperform everyone else in your field.
That is a powerful and necessary reframing. It means the real risk is actually complacency. It's strategic inertia.
Well, think about it. If your colleague down the hall is using an AI co-pilot to draft 80% of their tedious compliance reports, and they're spending the saved time on building client relationships or developing a new internal training module, they are rapidly increasing their overall value proposition.
They're essentially doing 10 hours of work in 4. Ignoring AI and choosing not to learn is, quite simply, the biggest professional disadvantage today.
You become the person bringing handwritten notes to a meeting where everyone else is generating real-time simulations and dynamic projections.
You do.
Now, in the face of this profound, accelerated anxiety, I think it can be extremely helpful to normalize the panic by reflecting on history.
Absolutely.
We've seen this movie before, haven't we? The resistance, the fear, the eventual adoption.
We have many times. And providing this historical perspective is key to calming the nerves and providing context for the speed of change.
So what are the parallels?
Think back to past technological shifts that initially caused massive professional anxiety because they fundamentally changed how white-collar work was done.
The personal computer,
Yeah,
spreadsheet, the internet.
exactly. Each of these caused massive waves of anxiety when they arrived. There were genuine fears that clerical staff would be eliminated by the PC, that middle managers would be made irrelevant by email.
Or that complex financial modeling would be taken over entirely by software like Lotus 123.
Right.
And what happened in each case? How did that adoption curve play out?
In each case, initial resistance, often fueled by fear of the unknown or just an unwillingness to learn new skills, was followed by widespread adoption.
And the technology didn't eliminate the underlying profession.
No, it redefined the threshold of competence. Slowly, using the new tool, moved from being a niche bonus skill to being an absolute necessity. By the mid-1990s, an accountant who refused to use a spreadsheet was functionally obsolete.
Not because the spreadsheet was conscious.
But because their competitor was 100 times faster, more accurate, and capable of generating far more strategic insight. The accountant who embraced the spreadsheet became a financial strategist. The one who resisted became a bookkeeper of declining value.
So the pattern holds. Technology emerges, anxiety peaks, resistance occurs, adoption accelerates.
And the non-adopter becomes marginalized. It's a tale of adaptation versus obsolescence.
There's a but here, isn't there?
There is. We must acknowledge a crucial caveat, and this speaks directly to the source of today's heightened anxiety.
Which is?
While the historical pattern of fear and adoption is similar, the velocity of change today is completely different.
The acceleration.
The acceleration of AI adoption and impact is exponentially faster than the adoption curve of the internet, the PC, or even the mobile phone.
The PC and the internet took a decade or more to achieve widespread professional saturation.
AI is achieving the same level of pervasive impact in 2 to 3 years. That acceleration is what necessitates a faster, more deliberate, and more strategic learning approach for every professional today.
We don't have the luxury of adapting over the course of a career.
We don't. We can't wait for the dust to settle. We need immediate, practical steps.
Okay, so given that accelerated pace, we can't afford to wait for society to catch up, and we certainly can't stay paralyzed by fear.
No.
We need immediate, practical steps that the listener can implement this week. So for the listener who is feeling anxious but is ready to act, what is the very first step they should take?
The first practical step is simple but powerful. It's a necessary shift in mental posture.
Okay.
You must shift from a posture of fear to one of curiosity. Fear paralyzes decision-making and learning. Curiosity motivates strategic experimentation.
So get your hands dirty.
You have to. You don't have to become an AI programmer overnight, but you must become an enthusiastic, experimental user of the tools that are relevant to your industry. This means committing to continuous, iterative learning.
How does one implement that? I mean, continuous learning sounds overwhelming. It sounds like going back for a second degree.
It doesn't have to be overwhelming. We would stress striving for small, consistent steps rather than massive, comprehensive efforts.
Like what?
This might mean dedicating 30 minutes a day to a specific AI tool. And don't just ask it simple questions. Experiment with complex professional tasks.
Like drafting an initial client communication.
Or summarizing 10 complex legal documents, generating 5 different marketing taglines for a new product, asking it to write the first draft of code for a routine process.
Experimentation is the key to confidence.
You must feel the tool's power, and, just as importantly, you have to feel its limitations. This iterative, hands-on learning is what builds competence and, crucially, reduces anxiety.
And crucially, we have to emphasize ethical engagement here.
So important.
If you are going to use AI in your role, which we strongly advise, you have to learn to use it ethically and responsibly.
This means understanding its limitations, knowing how to vet its output for hallucinations or inaccuracies,
Guarding data privacy by not inputting sensitive company information into public models.
and ensuring you, the human, remain accountable for the final output. Always.
The machine is a powerful co-pilot, but you, the human, are the captain.
The moment you delegate final decision-making authority to an algorithm, you have made a fundamental professional mistake.
Okay, so beyond the technical learning, what's next?
The most vital action professionals can take is strengthening the unique human skills that AI will augment but not replace. These are the durable assets that need investment now.
And we identified 4 essentials, right? The premium value drivers in the workforce.
Critical thinking, empathy, creativity, and judgment.
Let's break those down because these are the ultimate professional moat. Let's start with critical thinking. Why is this skill more important now that AI can generate so much data instantly?
Because AI is great at generating more data and more drafts, but it is terrible at discerning quality data.
Right.
It's terrible at spotting logical fallacies or determining if the output aligns with ethical or strategic objectives.
The legal profession example is a good one. An LLM can summarize 100 cases in minutes.
But it can also hallucinate or just fabricate a case that doesn't exist simply because that sequence of words was statistically probable.
So the ability to vet, to challenge, to apply critical, skeptical judgment to AI output becomes the premium skill.
You have to critically think about the prompt, the output, and the context. You have to understand that speed does not equal accuracy and volume does not equal wisdom. The professional of the future is a meticulous editor and fact-checker of machine output.
That moves us away from content creation and toward content evaluation. Okay, how about empathy?
As we saw in the customer service example, AI can handle logistics, but it cannot authentically connect, mediate interpersonal conflicts, build trust, or truly understand complex nonverbal cues and organizational politics.
Empathy is the human competitive edge in relationship-intensive roles. Sales, management, HR, leadership.
In a world saturated with efficient transactional tools, the human touch becomes incredibly scarce and therefore incredibly valuable. Your ability to negotiate, to motivate a struggling team member, or to build a lasting client relationship based on trust and shared understanding that requires empathy and social intelligence, that algorithms which operate purely on data patterns cannot replicate.
When efficiency is commoditized, relationship building becomes the key differentiator.
Perfectly said.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now, creativity. This is a tricky one. A lot of people are afraid because AI can generate images, music, and text that look highly creative. How do humans maintain the edge here?
We have to differentiate between what I'd call mimetic creativity and intentional creativity.
Yeah.
AI is excellent at mimetic creativity. It can generate novel combinations based on its training data, remix existing styles, produce infinite variations on a theme. But true, groundbreaking, unexpected creativity.
The kind that fundamentally reshapes a business model or defines a new aesthetic.
Or solves a societal problem in a way no one predicted, that remains rooted in consciousness, lived experience, and intent.
So the human defines the creative goal. The unique, risky, sometimes emotionally charged vision that pushes boundaries.
And the AI handles the execution draft or the fast ideation. AI is a fantastic tool for overcoming writer's block, but it needs a human to define the boundary, the purpose, and the ethical use of that creative output.
Humans are the visionary architects. AI is the hyper-efficient builder. And finally, judgment. This is often cited as the pinnacle of professional value.
It is the ultimate synthesis. Judgment is the ability to combine experience, critical thinking, empathy, and context to make high-stakes, nuanced decisions, especially where data is incomplete, conflicting, or requires a moral dimension.
AI provides the information. The human provides the wisdom.
Consider a CEO deciding whether to enter a high-risk market. AI can provide projections, financial models, regulatory summaries, but the judgment call that integrates corporate values, risk appetite, competitive history, and leadership intuition is purely human.
Judgment is the application of complex contextual wisdom, something that models, lacking consciousness and lived experience, simply cannot provide.
Exactly. These four skills, critical thinking, empathy, creativity, and judgment, are the durable professional assets that need investment now. They are the essential human element that AI must rely upon to be effective.
And as we wrap up this analysis, it's worth highlighting a couple of resonant ideas from the thought leaders cited in our sources. These analogies are powerful shortcuts for understanding the scale of this change.
One of the most powerful is Andrew Ng's analogy. He powerfully argues that AI is the new electricity.
Let's unpack that fully.
Think back to the profound foundational impact electricity had a century ago. It didn't just change the light bulb.
No, it changed everything. Manufacturing, supply chains, transportation, leisure, urban planning.
Nearly every aspect of human life. It was a general-purpose technology that infused itself into every industry, creating exponential gains.
It created entirely new markets and eliminated others.
Precisely. And Eng's point is that AI is viewed as having that same pervasive foundational power. It will change every single industry, not just a few specific sectors like programming or graphic
It
design,
will alter how we manage projects, conduct meetings, educate our workforce.
and structure our entire organizations. It suggests we shouldn't ask if AI will affect us, but how and when it will affect every single corner of our professional lives.
That analogy suggests the change is inevitable, foundational, and universal.
Exactly. And this leads directly to the crucial insight that reframes the entire job threat narrative.
Yep.
This is the mantra we must internalize.
Oh.
The older, fear-driven saying was, AI will replace humans. The modern, far more accurate and professionally motivating version is, AI won't replace humans. Humans using AI will outperform those who don't.
Say that one more time.
AI won't replace humans. Humans using AI will outperform those who don't.
And that shifts the entire threat. It's no longer an external, inevitable force that attacks your job.
It's a strategic choice you make about adaptation and learning. The professional division in the future won't be between those with high technical skills and those without, but between those who master the AI co-pilot and those who stubbornly resist its inevitability. The choice is yours. #AdTagAtro. So as we synthesize everything we've unpacked today, it's important to remember that AI anxiety is not irrational. It's understandable, it's human, and it's tied to our deepest professional insecurities.
But fear is not a strategy.
Fear is not a strategy. The facts tell a much clearer story. AI is here to amplify human potential. It's here to automate the predictable so we can focus on the profound. The professional opportunity is immense. We are entering an era where individual productivity can skyrocket, where the repetitive, mind-numbing elements of your work are managed by an incredibly efficient digital co-pilot.
Your ultimate value isn't in the data entry or the first draft.
Your durable value is in the judgment you applied to the resulting analysis, the empathy you bring to your team, and the creative vision you provide for the future.
The core takeaway is this. The future belongs to learners, adapters, and value creators who embrace these tools. The time for resistance is over. The time for strategic adoption and deep experimentation is now. We need to stop viewing AI as a competitor and start treating it like the most powerful professional development tool ever invented.
All said.
So, we leave you with this final provocative thought to mull over as you transition back into your professional week. If the greatest competitive risk is ignoring the tool, what single piece of repetitive work, that necessary but boring task that drains your time and prevents you from doing higher value thinking, can you hand off to an AI co-pilot this week?
That's the question.
That small single step is the start of your competitive advantage, and it's the first step toward transforming anxiety into action. Thank you for diving deep with us. We hope this has provided the clarity and the actionable strategy you need to navigate the exciting, if sometimes scary, future of work.